Week 2 negotiation analysis. So, the negotiation that I am going to analyze this week was a negotiation that happened over this weekend when my husband and I took a trip to Mississippi to visit my parents and to surprise them with a gift of the game Ticket to Ride. We had not decided before we went on the trip what time we would leave. We knew the day we were going to leave, but we hadn't decided yet on the time. So the day arrived that we were supposed to leave, and my interest was staying as late as possible to maximize the time with my parents, maybe play another game of Ticket to Ride, and just take advantage of the opportunity. My husband's interests were in leaving as soon as possible so that we could get back into town at a decent hour so he could get a good night's sleep and be ready for work the next day. So that's where our difference of opinion occurred, and we had to work through that in order to arrive at an agreement that would work for both of us. We were able to settle on a common interest, and we were able to do that because we were communicating what our interests were. Both of us really wanted to play another game of Ticket to Ride with my parents before we left, and so we made that the basis of determining our time to leave. The game takes about an hour to play, so we decided that afternoon we would play Ticket to Ride one last time, and then we would pack up and leave. We agreed to that. I agreed because I knew we were taking advantage of the last opportunity we had to play with them. And also, I was trying to be sensitive to my husband's needs and desires of wanting to get back at a decent hour, which I wanted to do too. So we were able to combine our interest and find common interests that would work. He was also being sensitive to my needs of wanting to spend time with my parents, and also looking at that he wanted to play the game one more time too. So we agreed, stuck to it, and it was great. So from the readings that we did this week with the Getting TS book and the Batcher article, I was really impressed with the idea of the integrative bargaining, the problem-solving win-win situation, and I think especially the idea of creating overall value, not just for yourself, but for everybody involved in the negotiation. And I think that's what my husband and I did. We looked at what our interests were. We tried to be reasonable and rational as far as, not leaving at like 9 o'clock at night when we have a 6.5 hour drive ahead of us so that we wouldn't get back at a decent hour. So I think taking some of the, objective standards of, okay, what's getting in at a decent hour look like? But also at the same time, trying to look at the interests of the other person so that you're not like, okay, we're leaving at, 8 o'clock in the morning to get in, when that's, not looking at my interest of wanting to stay as long as possible. So I think we were able to maximize value and do the integrative bargaining when I look back on, how we negotiated. In contrast with the distributive bargaining, where it was very competitive, adversarial, value claiming, I think that neither of us were really putting that type of bargaining into play. Like we both kind of wanted our way, but at the same time, we were able to empathize and see the other side's point of view and find a compromise area in between. A couple things I learned, I think, from this negotiation was that conflict doesn't have to be negative. And I think I learned that by just trying to pick a negotiation to discuss and analyze, because I was trying to find something where I'd had some sort of major disagreement and I really didn't have anything. And so when I looked at, this disagreement with my husband, it wasn't a major thing. It was just more or less a discussion. But it really was a negotiation. We really did have to consider both sides and find something kind of in the middle, something that would work for both of us. The second thing is really from the Batcher reading, looking at the integrative bargaining, and the fact that when you solve a problem with integrative bargaining, it may seem at first like you're giving up value, but really you're not. You're really able to claim value, and sometimes you're claiming it in different ways. For instance, I was able to claim it by strengthening my relationship with my husband because I knew he was thinking about me and I was thinking about him, and we both knew that we were thinking about each other, and so that really just strengthened our relationship, and we're able to claim the value of that relationship.